high school. Today I'm going to share with you some tips on how to use this very essential punctuation mark, the comma. So let's get started. To present. All right, so you know the comma as this punctuation mark that rests on the line as you are writing. Some of you use commas too little, and some of you use commas too much. I know, as high schoolers, you already know that commas separate items in a series. You also know that they separate the day of the week from the month and the number in a date. All those simple rules you mastered in elementary school. It's the trickier ones we need to focus on now. The first is commas need to separate clauses. So we have a sentence type called complex sentences, which involve an independent clause, which could actually be a sentence on its own, and a dependent clause, which is a sentence fragment that depends on the independent clause. Let's look at an example. This first sentence is fine as a sentence on its own, but it gives you some context for the one with the comma. So, this first one, the planet is facing an environmental catastrophe. It's a full, simple sentence. The planet is our subject. The verb is facing, means it's currently ongoing to have it in this ing form, and the object is environmental catastrophe. That sets us up for the second part, which is a complex sentence. The complex sentence consists of the dependent clause if we don't act now. That's not a complete idea yet. We put a comma after it because as we read that out, we're going to naturally pause. If we don't act now, comma, it will be too late. There should be a period there. That's the end of this sentence. So, it will be too late is an independent clause. That could be a sentence on its own. One of the reasons students misuse commas is they fear using simple short sentences, but actually, good writers have a variety of sentence lengths. So, don't be afraid of that. So, to recap this first rule, commas need to go between the dependent and independent clauses in a complex sentence. Let's look at the second way we would use commas that I find confused among high schoolers. This is called the appositive, and essentially it's using some additional information to describe something. You could have a complete idea, but you want to add a bit of description. That description should be sandwiched in between two commas. Let's look at the example below. Miss Hogg is from Zimbabwe. We could say that and it could be a complete idea, but we want to give some more information about who Miss Hogg is. So Miss Hogg, comma, our English teacher, comma, is from Zimbabwe. Now you know that this person has a role in your life as you're writing. Commas need to offset that description. That saves you the time and trouble of going and writing that as an additional sentence and adds some sophistication. This is a good technique to use sometimes, again, for sentence variety. Third, the last way that students in high school sometimes misuse commas is they forget to use commas around transition words. To add sophistication and organization, you are encouraged to use words like alternatively, significantly, ironically, these adverbials or constructions like therefore, however, on the other hand, they add some structure to your compositions. We shouldn't use them in every sentence, but they should exist in your writing. They should be followed by a comma, or if they go at the end of the sentence, it's a little more rare, they should be preceded by a comma. So here's an example. Instead, comma, the nation should be questioning how to prevent this tragedy. So let's conclude by looking at a couple of examples. I want you to think about where you would put the commas. You can pause the video here and we can discuss this, or you can discuss with a friend. Thanks, and I hope that has helped you with comma usage for high school.